Salutations, Earthlings, and welcome to the Divine Planet, the planet where masters are awakening through the mystery and the magic of the star tetrahedron. The mystical marriage of divine power and divine love, which creates powerful love in action. One of the themes we're going to be exploring tonight is love, that as we begin to love and love the self profoundly, we know that all of our power being focused through love, it then creates powerful love in action. Love is able to imagine and feel what source is wanting to create. If we're in the ego, we're then coming from a place of this is what I believe or what I think or what I need to make me happy or what I'm wanting. It doesn't mean we can't have preferences, but if the preferences are based upon I love myself unconditionally, and so I don't really need anything, but I have preferences of prosperity and joy and happiness, those preferences automatically attract back to us those things because we're creating a magnetic vibration rather than an outgoing I need or I want or I must do, which is more of a masculine, the right arm kind of punching out energy, which is the way the world has been creating itself. It's out there using its power, its punch. I want, I do, I make. And a lot of that, of course, based upon looking for validation, looking for something that creates the feeling of love, of acceptance. But it's a temporary moment in time that when we finally come to the place of love and peace, we realize that we're living in the ocean of oneness with Source. And as we simply hold a vibration of prosperity or joy or happiness, it then arises forth and magnetically is drawn back to us. It even comes to the point in time where as we master creation, which is through vibration, and so if we can imagine and feel a vibration of loaf and fish, just as the man Jesus did, the master, he didn't try and make a loaf and a fish. He simply imagined and had the feeling and then hold the focus upon the feeling of loaf and fish. And as that vibration occurred, it then had to then arise forth within materiality. It's very similar to cybernetics, where they simply take a sound, a vibration, and they play it, and the sand on it begins to inform itself to the vibration. Someone's not taking their finger and finger painting images or geometric figures in the sand. That would be I need, I want, I'm going to make. If it's really a vibration, it automatically then informs materiality to take on the vibration. And that's the essence of love. That when we love, we don't need to make or do or try. It's I am the vibration of love. I can simply love being the divine feminine of imagination. I can imagine the feeling of that which is my joy, my creativity. And as I focus upon it, the vibration is then emanating out and it then attracts back to us the materialization of it within physical form. So the other theme that we're really exploring tonight is the soul has created you, the body. It has informed itself within three-dimensionality in order to gather information about how to finally master three-dimensional form by, again, not doing or making or wanting, which is not love, it's power, but by informing ourselves in I love myself and I feel that I no longer need because love is totally established within. And in that self-love, one is no longer needing or wanting or desiring. One simply is being within the ocean That's what the soul is looking to achieve within the three-dimensional world of form. And so you then are the instrument of the soul. And the soul informs you to gather information about how three-dimensional reality works. And the beginning of that information is from 0 to 7, when the soul dreams you into time space. Of course, we think it's very real because we taste it, we touch it, we smell it, we feel it. We have five senses that can measure materiality, measure the dream. And because we're able to measure it, we then say, well, it's real, it's solid, but we're just measuring the dream. When we move to a place of pure light consciousness and enlightenment, we realize that everything is just light. And as light is in moving, we then measure it, we sense it, we feel it, we touch it, we taste it, and we have agreements that we're going to call are real. And it's joyful, it's great fun. I really enjoy three-dimensional reality tremendously. It's the tasting of food and dolphins and sunsets and the whole gamut of creative things that arise forth within this great playground of earth, three-dimensional reality. But when the soul dreams you, we then lock onto that dream. We then continue to hold emotions within us, which are vibrations. And we're saying that vibrations create your reality. And so from 0 to 7, you are born as a jewel. Literally, the soul takes a facet of itself, the purity, the integrity, the magnificence of the soul. And this great jewel simply takes one facet of purity, drops it down in time space as feeling energy, not mind, not thought, but feeling. And then the feeling of that one aspect within this three-dimensional world is then surrounded by parents, society, culture, all that goes on from 0 to 7. And all those vibrations, the child is picking up on them, not thinking, well, that's something out there or something is doing something, simply picking up on vibrations. And when there's vibrations of love and joy and creativity, the soul through the child goes, oh, that's what I am. It actually feels that within its body. And so the soul has informed itself in what we'd call the good karma of creativity, of imagination and love. Also, though, within that time frame, because we're not really living in an enlightened world yet, and we're still coming from out of the dark ages of war and hunger and manipulation and control and basically ignorance. Again, nothing wrong with it. It's just information about how to begin to arise out of that to become love. And so it's all in one way perfect. But that's how the soul is then bringing information to you. It's bringing the love and the creativity. So that becomes part of your capacity as a ego personality. But when there are things going on in the family unit where mother and father may be in the next room and they're fighting over prosperity, or they're having a fight over, whatever it is, that energy is vibrating through the wall, and it's anger and it's frustration. And the child literally picks up that feeling, because feelings go through walls, they go through literally anything. And the child is then embodying the vibration and says, oh, I must not be worthy to be loved. There's something angry and unlovable within me. And so that's to the soul creating that opportunity. You're born by the soul into a family unit that the soul chooses. It knows the mother, the father, the culture, the society, all circumstances, because the soul, the architect of your information, knows exactly what it needs to learn through you and what specific agendas are going to be arising forth. So there's no error. There's nothing wrong with any of it. It's just information. But if we keep holding on to the dream of anger and frustration or worthlessness or the emotion of fear and worry or even hatred, it's still a vibration from 0 to 7 within the body. and it vibrates out from you. And again, vibrations create reality. It creates a loaf and a fish if there's love. It creates a loving relationship if there's love. But if there's sadness and worry and anger, it vibrates out and creates things in the world that cause us to feel worry, or we're fearful about this, or the chaos in the world is bothering us and we're now, stressed out and uptight. And we think, well, that's happening to us. But we know in our work that it's simply the vibration within that is creating that opportunity out there to gather information for the soul. Because when you feel something that makes you angry and frustrated, if you can follow that vibrational feeling back, it lives somewhere in your body. And as we well know in our work together, we can then feel that area of the body and the soul, not the personality. If the personality goes into that area and begins to examine the anger, it wants to know, well, where did it come from? Who did it? How many times have I felt it? What should I do about it? Which is thinking. And the child from 0 to 7 does not understand thinking. It understands feeling. It understands love. And that's what the soul is that created the child. And then symbolically, as it says in the Bible, someone stole the child away and then took it into a far country. Well, that's just the parents that stole it in their ignorance from the soul that is the divinity, that if it was allowed to be there, the child would grow up to be enlightened. But we need information in order to do that, because we're coming from out of ignorance now into the possibility of enlightenment. And so when there's then anger within, and we've learned through our meditation to quiet the thinking mind, and in our thinking mind, it's this silent peace, and we then focus more upon the golden light of the soul. We're feeling this divine guardian angel energy that is our true creator. That's what meditation does for us. And as we're holding our attention and focus upon the feeling of this liquid golden light flowing down in and through, it's a visceral feeling. It's like sunlight, the warmth of sunlight. As it flows in the area of the body where there is a feeling of anger, it settles into the liver, because that's usually the third chakra where we hold anger. Through the kidneys, the liver. Through the kidneys, you're pissed off. Through the liver, there's anger and there's hatred. And again, nothing wrong with those emotions. They're just information that once you learn to bring the soul in and then settle into the emotion, it becomes a doorway. And where's that door leading? As we talked last week, it's leading on a ripple of energy, just like a ripple upon the ocean. And it's rippling back. And now you feel yourself repositioned in the past. And here's the child. And in the next room, mother and father are fighting over money or over relationships, or dad has had a bad day at work and they're fighting over that. Doesn't matter. It's just a feeling, and the feeling is anger. You're picking it up and you're believing it must be me. And so as the soul is then settling into that vibration by moving across the wave back to time space, the soul is literally repositioning itself back there in the past, in that dream sequence time. And the soul is then able to see or feel or imagine through you the image of a child in a room, and there's something that is overshadowing it with anger or frustration. Now, the only one that has a physical form in the room is the child. And so the child is the one and the only one that can take action to change that scenario. The soul can give the child energy. And as the soul is giving the child energy, it can then come up to a warrior-like energy, which is very important. The soul gives the child the right to stand up for itself. It acknowledges with the child, this is ignorance. And now you must be the warrior that takes action and moves that vibration out of your space. It's not violence. It's simply a repositioning, a transformation of energy by taking action with fire, which is passion. And with fiery passion, you're moving that energy out of your space. The analogy would be, I'm sure all of us know something that we love profoundly, be it an animal, be it a child that we had or that we still have right now. And imagine someone's getting ready to come through the door, and that child is before you on the floor and filled with joy and beauty and grace. But this individual is coming through the door, and there's this energy of anger and frustration, and then now they're going to take it out on the child. But the thing is, there's a glass wall between you and what's going on. And so you can't intervene. That's where the soul is back there. It can't intervene physically. But in this room of magic where there's this glass wall, you have the ability to magically give energy to the child. And the child can then stand up and it can address, no matter how big or outrageous or how terrible this energy is, the child can stand up as a warrior and address that energy that's coming through. So the child comes up to a frequency of red, of fire, of action, and takes action to literally push that energy out of its space, which is proving to the child that that is not the mother nor the father. It is the soul that is the divine mother, father that created the child. And so you're literally, as the soul, gathering the child that was stolen from away from you and bringing it back to yourself. And because the child now is free in that moment of anger and frustration, it now is able to create more of a bond through the soul with you as the personality. And you have now created another feeling of self-love. The personality is no longer having images of anger or frustration that are showing up in the world. The feeling of more childlike joy and magic is arising forth because you've literally rescued a part of yourself from out of the past. And the child and the soul are now rippling from out of the past on a wave of love back into the now, and more of the childlike magic lives in and through you, which is love. And because you're loving yourself more and more every day by simply finding and feeling emotions and not judging them or criticizing them or disliking them, when you see chaos in the world or what's going on politically, it doesn't bother you. You're simply observing it in equanimity, as Buddha said. And because you're free, and you're free because you found all of these dark counterclockwise spirals of live spell backwards emotions. You didn't judge them. You simply, as the soul that doesn't mind it, it's information. The soul settles through it. And when the soul really finds itself back there in time space, it then simply brings power and love to the child. And now the child loves itself. That love is then moving with the soul back into the now. And by embracing hatred and bringing love, you see that hatred disappears. By feeling sadness and grief and going through it and bringing love to the child no longer feels sadness or grief. Love is reawakened. And as love reawakens more and more with each processing of each emotion you feel, because you're loving yourself fully and completely, that's enlightenment. You're no longer looking for something to validate you or to make you feel good enough or to acknowledge your right to live. You have brought the soul through the magical child, unified it with the personality. The three become the one in love. Powerful love in action, which allows us through the upper triangulation of power, which is focusing light and attention, the lower triangulation of imagination and feeling. As the two come together, it then creates powerful love in action. Powerful love finds the vibration. It simply emanates the vibration out, and action arises forth, not from doing, but from being. And thus we are mirroring the choices of love and prosperity and peace, happiness and health. By simply vibrating it here, we then mirror it within three-dimensional reality. We meet it every day without worry, without fear, without angst, without stress. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world. We know it's simply the soul through those individuals gathering information about how in probably some future time, space, to learn to love themselves and become enlightened. It's much like a schoolroom. There's kindergartners, there's first graders, there's third graders who are in third chakra power, and they're manipulating and controlling and needing and wanting and desiring. And there's fourth graders who begin to move up to the heart and they're more loving and feeling. And then there's fifth graders who are more in the fifth chakra of creative joy. And then sixth chakra individuals who are having visions and visions of spiritual lives and oneness and harmony and goodness. And then finally, seventh graders who have the crown chakra open and they're unifying with the soul. And then finally, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, they download in and through the personality because it loves itself. The soul, those higher dimensional frequencies now live informed within the physical body. Enlightenment. Simply love. As I said on the little scenario that I sent out on my email, I think Jesus already said that. Love is the way. When you love yourself unconditionally, you literally begin to feel the vibrations of Source as an ocean of living light that you're swimming within. And there's waves of joy and peace and harmony. And over here, you observe waves that are chaos, but they don't bother you because they are simply information for someone else. You can't attract them to you. Your ocean is a beautiful place. It's a paradise. And because you live in the paradise of the ocean of your joy, the chaos, it can't come into your ocean. It's just not possible. You couldn't meet a burglar. You couldn't meet someone that wanted to harm you. Your vibration creates your reality, and love is the way. And the simplicity of it is to simply find any emotion that is still within the body. And you all know that throughout the day that you then create these little emotional moments. You might feel the frustration, but then you go, no, I know what to do. I'll go around that. Or I won't be angry at that driver. Or I won't be angry that the UPS wasn't there on time. You felt it, but then you went, no, I didn't really get that. But you did. And so if you're cognizant without judgment, without self-criticism, these little subtle worries or fears or frustrations or angers or even maybe hatred of what's going on politically, you go, oh, let me really feel that and feel that vibration. And without judgment, let the soul come in and through golden liquid light, move through that area of the body that it's probably at. Usually the lower chakras, third chakra, frustration, anger, hatred. Second chakra, sadness and grief and shame. First chakra, fear and worry. Now, when we have those lower vibrations of fear and worry and sometimes worthlessness, the soul, the childlike part of us, will take a picture of that worthlessness and it'll put it behind the heart and we'll think, well, I'm not lovable. And so there'll be some energy behind the heart. But if we follow it to its origination, we'll find it's usually in the second chakra. We might find something in the fifth chakra where we don't feel good about expressing our creative joy. We're blocked in our speaking. We're worried what other people might say about what we're saying. Well, it's not really the fifth chakra. It's a picture from the child that says, I wasn't allowed my voice. I wasn't allowed my creativity. And so it puts a little picture up here and we have, energy within the throat or in the back of the neck somewhere where it's tight. If we simply bring the golden light of the soul in and begin to follow through that energy, through that part of the body, and begin to ask ourselves and feel, what's the emotion? I don't feel good about speaking my truth. I'm worried what other people might say about me. Nothing wrong with that. It's just information. You should be celebrating. Oh, great. This is information from the soul about how to love myself. Thank you very much. Let's bring the soul in. Let's dive through that energy. And let's move through the wave of time, space, back. And let's find that child. And here's Dad. And he says, little girls are to be seen, not heard. Little boys, they can't be creative. That's sissy. I was called a sissy 100 times when I was a kid. But I'm a very sensitive kid. Now I've become a very sensitive adult. It hurt terribly back then, and I found the hatred, the anger, the loneliness, the worthlessness around it. But I went through it, and I changed the past by giving the child the right to stand up for himself. And with fire and passion, simply moving that energy out of his space. Didn't hurt anyone, didn't harm anyone. Simply transformation of energy. Excuse me. So that's the information that the soul is looking for, how to love oneself more and more. On the road to that, one of the things that we do in our work is the breath work, because it helps us feel from the open doorway within the heart that we're summoning source into this dimension. When source, the vibration of the void, is brought forth, there's unlimited potentiality within it. And then we can imagine and feel, well, what's this feeling that I would bring to it? As we hold that imagination and feeling and then focus attention light upon it, the star tetrahedron spinning out powerful love creates a vibration of it within this dimensional world, and voila, fish and loaf arises. So that's the open doorway, unlimited possibilities. And so when we're breathing in, we're literally breathing in unlimited possibilities. And we know in our work, with the breath, we simply then see it, feel it as sparkling, effervescent, golden sunlight radiating from us. Our meditation is a gift to the awakening of the planet. When we are then, after our meditation, we want to focus upon prosperity or joy or loving relationships, or maybe some of the creative works we're doing, that's fine. But our meditation is a gift to the planet. We become the living light. So let's go ahead and close the eyes and feel the body relaxing. One of the things we've been talking about is seeing ourselves sitting at the open doorway. We so identify with the physical form, believing this is what I am. But it's the doorway within the heart chakra where the I am is calling forth source into this dimension. I am at the doorway, breathing in that which I am, source. And with a gentle exhale, sitting at the doorway, I imagine and feel golden, effervescent sunlight and peace. Sunlit radiance. My aura glows just like the man Jesus, who was the light of love. Other great masters, Buddha, Krishna, many known and unknown beings of great light, I know as I breathe, sitting at the doorway, I am summoning source into this dimension. Like a coin, behind me is the void. In front of me, liquid living light flowing. It's much like our great galaxy, the Milky Way, and all galaxies within the cosmos. There is a black hole at the center, and it is emanating out stars as its living life. Source God becoming manifest as great swirling galaxies of billions of stars. And I sit at the doorway of the void and breathe in Source and create living starlight swirling and dancing all around. I am the light. The silence at the doorway is profound. The emanation of living sunlight and peace is joyful. I am love in action. Focusing the mind, power, upon breathing from the void source to be living light. What I focus upon and imagine becomes real. As Jesus once said, I am the doorway. Not the man, but the star tetrahedron that swirled and danced all around him, that opened the doorway to the I am. And through love, we are becoming those living masters, breathing source into this dimension as liquid living light. And then very easily, as it feels comfortable, still sitting at the doorway, observing this dimensional reality from the doorway, slowly coming back more and more to the moment of the now. As we remember the feeling of breathing when something in the world bothers us, we don't have time to process the emotion right there, and we're in a place of stress or worry. If we just go to the breath and once again sit at the doorway and breathe source into this dimension and see golden light emanating from us, you'll observe how the tension and the worry and the stress around simply melts away because we created the vibration to be different. So our joy together is the manifestation of the star tetrahedron, upper triangulation of divine power, which is simply focusing attention, which creates light. Just like the movie projector, it creates light. The divine feminine is the film, imagination, and love. As we imagine and love, hold focused light, it creates the mystical marriage. And then the instantaneous vibration of whatever we choose to see, feel, focus upon comes into manifestation. And because we no longer need or want or must make in order to feel good enough, our love is simply a vibration of sunlight and joy and prosperity and happiness and magic. And that vibration simply creates reality for us. And then we share that reality, emanating golden light wherever we go. It's the story of Jesus walking through the marketplace, and the woman simply touched the hem of his robe, touched his aura, and she was immediately healed and changed. The vibration, he wasn't trying to make her different. It was the vibration all around him of living light. It simply seeked as a vibration into her, and she could no longer hold her negative vibration, and she was healed. So that's what we are doing each and every day. We're bringing the vibration of our aura. And when people touch the hem of our robe, we're then bringing wholeness and transformation everywhere. I'll take you through the full formulation of the star tetrahedron. Once again, as it's formulated, I encourage you to feel yourself sitting at the doorway. Just like a coin, on one side is the void, on the other side, liquid living light. It's really, though, like a basketball of light. And in the center is the void, which we think it's just small, but in fact it's infinite. And so we touched into the infiniteness of the void that we simply change into golden liquid light. So sitting comfortably and quietly, we can once again be aware of our breath. Don't stop breathing. Or your ascension will be immediate. Breathe. And then bringing attention between the eyebrows. Slowly bringing attention to the center point of the mind, brain, and igniting the light of the soul. And holding attention here, light increasing. What I focus upon and imagine becomes real. Light increasing. Divine power, focusing light. I bring it to the heart chakra, the sternum, and illuminate what already exists. The star tetrahedron. Gently imagining upper triangulation moving left to right, clockwise. Lower triangulation, divine feminine love, gently flowing from right to left, counterclockwise. Down in and through earth it is, grounding us, being present. And as the star tetrahedron turns, it opens the sacred doorway within the heart. The I am, the eternal I am, where we find ourselves sitting at the doorway. As we breathe in golden sunlight and peace, magnifies out into this dimension. I am the light. I will join with you and we will create radiance together, gifting the earth at this most important time. And very easily now. Slowly coming back into the now. Well, that was really quite lovely, my friends. Thank you very much. We won't see you the day before Turkey Day because a lot of people will be traveling. But happy Thanksgiving to all, and we'll see you in December. In the meantime, enjoy your meditation. Sit at the doorway and summon Source as you become the living starlight. Starlight I am. Thanks, loves.